YouTube channel, as well as the Pedagogy Next podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's also on YouTube. And you will also get a recording automatically sent to you about an hour after this session if you registered. So stay tuned for the recording if you missed it or want to share with colleagues. Join us for our next session on June 25th on the topic of podcasting, video, and web publishing for teaching and learning. A couple of things to note, some objectives. We really want you to gain confidence with navigating your own AI journey. We know there's a lot of information out there, so we just want you to identify ways to learn on your own. So as we move forward, we're going to focus on LinkedIn Learning and some in-house homegrown kind of modules that Jess Callow from our Center for Distance Ed has developed.
So we'll be joined today by Ron Roberson, who works in the OIT Knowledge and Services team and manages our LinkedIn Learning platform at UTA. And he's going to introduce LinkedIn Learning resources and highlight some key industry trends in AI adoption in the workplace to help faculty align their teaching with evolving professional expectations. And Jess Callow is an instructional designer in CDE and teaches in the ILDT Masters and Certificate program. She's going to walk us through UTA's AI Essentials for Instructors Canvas course, offering some practical strategies and ready-to-use tools for integrating AI into course design, instruction, and assessment. And then we'll talk to Andrew Clark, who is a professor of communications, QEP director, and associate director for CERTL. He's going to share his insights and experiences, particularly with Coursera. So as we're moving through the presentations, please feel free to drop questions into the chat as our presenters talk. We're going to be monitoring that throughout the webinar, and we'll leave time at the end of the presentation to answer some of the chat questions as they come up as well, if we have any new ones too. So first up, we have Ron, and he's going to talk to us about one of my favorite resources for both my students and myself, LinkedIn Learning.
Thank you for that. And let me just share my screen real quick. And I should have this queued up. Okay, here we go. So LinkedIn Learning is, I'm getting a bad echo. Is that possible to fix? Thank you. No, that didn't work. Okay, so I will continue on with the echo, see if you can resolve that. There may be a live mic somewhere, but so I'm going to go into what LinkedIn Learning has done to provide a structure for learning AI. And basically what we have going on here is a five-tier framework. So LinkedIn Learning has the resources to pull data from their LinkedIn side, yeah, this is just not working. I'm gonna have to do something here to eliminate this feedback. Okay, so I will continue on. There's about a 5-second delay on this. I don't know where it's coming out from. So LinkedIn has determined through their research and so forth that most of the Fortune 500 companies are looking for content on resumes, on LinkedIn profiles to give feedback as to what's needed. So here you can see 82% of leaders say employees need some upskilling for growth of AI. You'll notice that they're developing tons and tons and tons of videos. Now, when talking about LinkedIn Learning, we have to remember that the courses are made up of small videos. So there may be 50 3 to 5 minute or 10-minute videos in a course, and there may be more than that. There are also what's called learning paths. So when we talk about this, I'm going to kind of go through some of the differences there and some of the things that you can utilize. So let's talk about this little pyramid for a second. So first of all, we have understanding, and then the next level is applying, and then we have building and training and maintaining models, and then deeply specializing. So let's keep that in mind when we go through here. You'll see this organization all through the structure that I'm talking about. So this is a plan for upskilling your group of employees, basically. So if you have specific needs like we do at UTA for learning how to use AI responsibly and effectively in our classroom environment, learning how to teach our students how to use it responsibly and effectively, that's a kind of unique situation, but there is some content out there for that, and specifically at this understanding and applying level. So I'm going to move on to the next slide here. This is a little bit of a deeper dive into what we just saw. So if we look at the understanding level, we've got a little bit of a bio here from one of the instructors that developed content for that. And if you look at each level above, it's the same thing. We've got thousands and thousands of videos, but these are just some of the highlighted curators and content creators that have put together some of the training documentation and so forth. You'll notice a link next to each one of these. Now, I didn't include that link. I included a link from the first slide that actually has the plan for upskilling your employees. Basically, it's just one video, I believe. The link at the bottom of this page, though, should also be included in the chat, and that's going to give you hundreds, maybe less than 200, but different courses, classes, and probably even some learning paths on different levels of this pyramid. So it's basically an Excel worksheet that has just a huge list of AI content, and they're all categorized by understanding, applying, building, training, and maintaining models, or deeply specializing. And I'll be honest with you, I'm down here at this bottom tier. We all interact with AI all the time. I talk to devices and they give me responses, and Alexa, Siri, all that kind of stuff. That's all AI. Sometimes Alexa thinks I'm a cat, but that's okay. AI is evolving. So let's take a look at this a little deeper. So if I go into the LinkedIn Learning platform and I just do a search, well, it's not just a search anymore. It's a search bar where you can also ask questions. So you'll notice I put up AI upskilling framework and hit the search button. So I get an AI response to my prompt there. So it tells me what AI upskilling framework is. It then pulls some relevant content and gives me links to those. There's a learn more button here, and then there's of course tons of filters. So we now have LinkedIn Learning translated into a bunch of different languages. English is still the language where they have the largest volume of their content, but there's hands-on practice. You can sort by time to complete, and then there's tons of other filters, but there's also that level filter in there. Let's take a look at this next one. So if you dig a little further down, just kind of scrolling down, you can see some of the content that has that pyramid structure in there. And these are really quick. The one at the top there's 35 minutes. The one in the middle is a little over 26 minutes. And then the bottom one is just a quick 3.5 minute video. So these are kind of introductory things to talk about how to go about in the case of this GPT-4 tips and tricks. That's an intermediate video, but it's how to go about utilizing that product. And then here, this is more of just general on upskilling. And so this is kind of what we're all talking about these days. There's been a lot of discussion at UTA, and I know at other college campuses, about how do we use this effectively? How do we create safe environments that we can create good prompts for the AI to work as we want it to handle anything from, you know, answering questions for students that are trying to register to, you know, how is it effectively used in the classroom. Now, I want to point out here on the left, there are some other links in here. So if you'll notice down here, trending topics, artificial intelligence is the second one. We've got leadership and management also in cybersecurity. But artificial intelligence has always been at the top recently. So let's take a look at the next slide here. This is just clicking that artificial intelligence link and what it takes you to. So again, it's giving you a description of what artificial intelligence is, what kinds of topics are available, and it's highlighting, of course, the new courses. You'll notice over here that there are 888 courses that pulled up with this click of that one link. So there's a ton of stuff in here, and this is not necessarily your basic stuff, right? So scrolling further down the page, let's take a look at some of this other content. Notice right at the top here under the heading, this is again searching artificial intelligence upskilling framework, the same topic from the beginning slide. And you'll notice these 5 items here match the pyramid structure that we saw before. So you can choose level 1, understanding. Right now, level 5 is selected. Probably if I were to recreate this slide, I'd go back and select level 1. But you can see that there's just a ton of content and information that you kind of need help sorting through. Right here, you'll notice it says go deeper with AI learning paths. Now, learning paths can put you on a topic specific track to learn certain things about a subject. So in this case, there are 103 AI learning paths that you can choose from. Now, some of those learning paths are actually related to certification programs. So let's take a look here at that. So if you look at certifications, of course, it's giving you prompts up here where you can sort again, top 10 skills to develop. It's actually just 10 skills to develop, but I think it's kind of trying to give you the most common ones. But I have no idea what TensorFlow and PyTorch are. I could learn about it, but I think I need to start more at the beginning. Well, what I wanted to show you on some of these certification programs, and I believe there are about 80 learning paths that have certifications or certification prep associated with them. This one down here in the bottom right, Career Essentials in Generative AI by Microsoft and LinkedIn. That's a collaboration. Of course, Microsoft owns LinkedIn, so that's a collaboration, and that is, if you are a UTA student, faculty, or staff, that's completely free to you with our LinkedIn Learning license. And there are quite a few free certification programs in there, and several that are, AI related. So this is one that they're highlighting right now that you can get for free all the way through the exam and credentials. So something to think about. Lastly, I'm going to just show you the AI that's inside of LinkedIn Learning. So there's this AI coaching button over here on the left, and you can click that AI coaching button and it will allow you to prompt it with questions, and it gives you examples of things. How can I identify my transferable skills? Best course to learn Microsoft Office. You can prompt it with anything, and it'll give you a response. It also has the ability to practice using role play with you. So you can talk to it, and it will talk back to you and give you responses, so that you can practice things like reviewing a high performer, or setting improvement goals for an underperformer, things like that. So anyway, I hope you will, if you haven't already done so. And I know some of the other UT System campuses that may be in attendance today also have LinkedIn Learning. Some may not. But if you do, definitely get in and take advantage of it. I'll be starting at the bottom of that pyramid, and you can join me there. And thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you so much, Ron, for all that great information. We had a question in the chat about whether UT-RGV has LinkedIn Learning. I believe so, but if someone else from UT-RGV can confirm that in the chat, we do have it here. Actually, our students also have access to it. So as a side note, if you are leveraging these resources for your own learning, consider incorporating them as optional or supplemental materials for onboarding students from your class, if you're interested in integrating AI tutorials and micro-credentials into your courses. So we're going to switch next to Jess Kahlo. Quick introduction. She is an instructional designer in our Center for Distance Education at UT Arlington. She has created several online modules, one for faculty and one for students. And she'll be talking about those next. And we also have, if you go to the Pedagogy Next blog, you can see her blog post about this, and we will get that link in the chat for everyone. So Jess, are you there? And we'll switch it over to you for screen sharing. As a reminder too to everyone, we just put the entire slide deck in the chat. Okay, so we'll switch it to Jess. Whenever you're ready, Jess.
I think I stole Ron's presentation here, so if everyone can hear me and can still see the screen, we can keep doing this. All right, so I'm Jess. Again, I'm an instructional designer and instructor at UTA. And I just wanted
Hey,
to start
Jess,
with,
are you? Oh, I see her. Yeah, she's on. Okay.
is everything good? Okay. I just wanted to start with a brief timeline of AI at UTA to kind of get a sense of where we were, where we're at, and where we're going. So we started an AI task force and website. That was back in 2023. In 2024, a bunch of UTA faculty worked together and put together an AI-powered education book, and I have a chapter in there about using AI for rubrics. And then I also have a book that I wrote for one of my courses that talks about using AI in teaching. And then also in 2024, UTA put out AI syllabus statements, so statements that faculty could use and adapt in their courses when they taught. And naturally, I immediately did that in my courses. So I started using them right away. I started allowing AI use with citation. But then I quickly realized that students didn't know what that meant. They either weren't citing their AI use, ignoring it entirely, or just doing something completely random. So I started making an AI Essentials for Students guide, and I started putting all that stuff together. So how to cite AI, how to use it ethically, ways you might use it. And then I just kind of built on that. It started as probably about a paragraph, and it built into this whole course that I built out in H5P based on feedback I got from instructors about what students were doing in their courses and how they use AI. And then I also made it specific to UTA, but anyone can access it and use it. And the cool thing about it is it's H5P, so you can make it a graded activity in your courses if you wanted to, and I do that. But then once I had the AI Essentials for Students
Oh,
guide figured
Jess, we're
out,
not seeing your slides change. I don't know if you can hear me.
I didn't
Oh,
change
wait, we
them
see them
yet.
now. Okay.
Hey,
I'm,
that's actually me.
is that
So
okay?
I'm apparently I'm still sharing the slide deck. So you need to probably just open it from your end so you can change slides.
I can.
Changing
But
now.
then, what?
Looks like we're good. We're on the
Okay.
timeline slide.
Yeah. So then I made the AI Essentials for Instructors guide because I was doing so much stuff in my courses to prepare students to use AI appropriately, um, that I just wasn't, we weren't really telling instructors what to do or what they could do or how they might use AI in their courses. And if they did, what they also need to do to make sure students know what's going on. So that's when the AI Essentials for Instructors came about. So the AI Essentials for Instructors is a UTA-specific Canvas course, and that kind of sets it apart from some of those other LinkedIn Learning courses or Coursera or other courses that you might find, because it talks about specific things that UTA has and UTA supported tools and their privacy and security concerns to go along with that, and also the UTA AI policy. But the goal is to just give instructors tangible strategies for using AI so that they can make informed decisions about its use. We're not telling people they have to use AI. We're not telling people they can't use AI. Giving them information so that they know vaguely what's going on and what they can do. And then this added glance box here, those are some of the main highlights that people who have taken the course have
It's not
found most
changing.
valuable.
There you go.
So the structure of the AI for Instructors module is, it has 6 pages, it has 5 surveys. The surveys are more like brief check-in opportunities. So they just give you an opportunity to reflect on how you might use some of those strategies and ideas from the previous pages in your teaching or in your courses, or how you might not want to use them, or why you wouldn't use them. And then at the end, there is a short quiz to demonstrate your understanding of the material, and then you can get a AI Essentials badge. And it is self-paced, self-enrollable, And it's open to UTA faculty, staff, and graduate students. And it takes about 2 hours to complete. And some of the key things it focuses on are the AI and
Is
academic
this not
integrity.
available then to anybody else? She said it's available to UTA faculty and staff, so
Our module is just for each,
then what's the point?
that it can be done in-house, I guess.
Because the other people
So
aren't
it
gonna be
also
able to
talks
use it
about
then.
redefining what quality assessments are, using AI for course design, allowing AI in assessments, and integrating AI in courses. And that it has follow-up surveys for each of those areas. Currently, or as of Monday, there were 110 people enrolled in the course and 21 people had earned badges on it. And then we also asked some questions in those surveys that kind of gauge where we're at in terms of what's going on in the course. Some of those highlights are here. So everyone who takes the course will now address AI in their courses. So whether that's using AI, not using AI, regardless, it's just they're addressing AI in their courses, which is great. People increased how they're going to use AI in their courses, with the most being for using AI to create rubrics, which is a really great way to do it. And then also a lot more people decided to allow AI as a study guide. And you can review these numbers on your own too and ask me any questions that you have. And then lastly, I just had a couple of quotes from some of the people who had taken the course. And I thought these were really good because these are the things that they pointed out that they thought were some of the most effective strategies that they learned in the course. So the idea of using AI use statements as a requirement for assignments, asking students to say, hey, I used AI, this is the citation, this is what I asked it, and here's a link to it, or this is why it still aligns with the academic integrity policy, or this is how it made my assignment better. Another focused on how they're going to use the AI Essentials for Students guide. So they said it's not enough for me to give a brief lecture on the evils of plagiarism and the use of tools like AI. She gave students training in the tools she uses like Excel and Word, so why not AI? And another takeaway was modeling the behaviors themselves, which was a big part of the course, and using AI to brainstorm coursework and allowing students to use AI as a way to get them to focus more on the creativity side of the assignment. And that is what I had for you guys today. I hope you have questions for me later, and I hope you enjoy the student and instructor guides.
Thank you, Jess, very, very much. Appreciate that. Don't forget, as we're going through, to put questions in the chat if you have them. And now we're going to go last to Andrew, who's going to talk to us a little bit about his experience with Coursera.
Yeah, so Coursera, through a partnership with the UT system, Coursera is available now to faculty, to staff, and to students, not only here at UT Arlington, but also to institutions throughout the UT system. Here at UT Arlington, this is how you can get a hold of the Coursera program. So it's uta.edu/academics/professional-development. So that's where you will go. When you click on that, it's going to bring up this page about professional development, and you'll see Coursera Career Academy there. You'll click on the faculty and staff link, and you've then got this page for Coursera Career Academy. And so there are a number of different micro-credentials available for faculty, staff, and also for faculty to incorporate into their courses. And we've got faculty doing that. We had a workshop last summer where a number of faculty went through and learned how to implement micro-credentials into their courses. And a lot of them were using Coursera. Some of them were using LinkedIn and others as well. And you can use all of the modules in the micro-credential. You may only want to embed just one or two, but there's a number of different micro-credentials. But in terms of AI, if you go up to the search bar at the top and just type in AI, you'll see what types of micro-credentials are available through Coursera from their partners. So you've got Introduction to Artificial Intelligence from IBM. So you've got a number of IBM ones. You've also got Microsoft, and it's not sharing. You've got Adobe. You've got a number of different options for AI. And so if you type in Adobe, for example, Adobe is a relatively new partner with Coursera. Just hold it right there, Dakota. And Adobe is a relatively new partner with Coursera. And if you just scroll up to the top, right there, so you can see some of the different things that Adobe offers that also include AI. So Adobe Graphic Design, Adobe Content Creator, multimedia content creation. Within each of these, so if you just want to click on the content creator, for example, or whichever one, it doesn't matter, bring it up, and then you'll see where you can enroll. You'll see that there are 4 modules, and it takes two weeks to complete if you spend about 10 hours a week doing that. Then it tells you things that you're going to learn. So there's different, if you want to click on the modules there, you'll see Introduction to Multimedia, creating podcasts, creating videos, multimedia using Adobe Express. And then at the end, you'll also earn a certificate from Adobe in this particular area. So not only are you gaining skills yourself and you're learning how to use AI, but then you can also embed this into your course. You can use these into your courses, whether it's just one module or asking your students to complete the whole module. But as a faculty member, I would encourage you to go through the course first so that you know what to expect, you know how it works, you know what the pros and cons are before asking your students to do something like this within a course. It may be something that you just want to offer to them and just show them as something that they may do. When you get your certificate, then it'll give you the option to embed it automatically into your LinkedIn profile as well. So this is just another option, but again, Coursera has partnered with the UT system to offer these micro-credentials, and they're great. They're very easy to go through. There's usually videos, there's maybe a quiz, and oftentimes there's a little exercise that they ask you to do as well, so that you become proficient and familiar with using the micro-credentials. And so you should be able to use it not only for yourself, but then again, help your students through it as well. So it's the UT system. It's a partnership with the Coursera. It's a partnership with the UT system. And that's what I have.
All right, so we have plenty of time for questions. So if you have a question in the chat, have you seen one, Peggy, that we might start with?
I just want to mention, I believe that the Coursera program is UT system-wide. So if you're at another UT system campus and you're able to look that up, I know that we have that Career Academy. Those are available to students too, I believe.
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, I use Coursera in my social media class. I embed it into modules in Canvas, and same with LinkedIn Learning.
Yeah.
So use that all the time.
And someone from UTA says, can you share that link that was shared? Was that to the Course Academy? Banu, on my own chat to see. Remind us what link you want for that. And then we have a couple more questions. Okay, Melissa is sharing, you can get to the Coursera Career Academy, and she shared a link through my app. And someone asked, do we have to pay for the certificate in Coursera? If you're in the UT system, Andrew, is that free? It's free if you're in the UT system.
And Melissa Roach and Bob Nicole be able to offer. Melissa Roach, who's on the call, might be able to offer more information too about that if you've got specific questions. You can reach out to her through CDE here at UTA.
So we've got links going in the chat. I don't know if you could hear me before, but the UT system partners with Coursera to get access to those courses. So that should be a UT system-wide, and we just put that in there. If you're at UTA, you can also go to myapps.uta.edu and access all of your apps on one page, and this is one of them. Thank you. And let me see if someone asked, this one appears to be multimedia content creation. Is it AI multimedia content creation for the Adobe, Andrew?
I believe so. Yeah, I mean,
my
best advice to you is just to explore. I mean, you all know what your needs are or what you would like to learn, and so yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, Adobe is a relatively recent partner with Coursera, and there's just a lot of different things to learn.
Let's look at other questions. And I'll say that if you do have access to LinkedIn Learning, there's a lot on there. There's a lot on there.
And Nikisha put in the chat the Google AI Essentials specialization link, and I've gone through that. It's a wonderful course just to really learn about AI and to learn, just what's going on and to start to familiarize yourself before moving into to other things as well, and again, that's free enrollment there. So I would highly recommend the Google AI Essentials course.
And then somebody in the chat posted the link for UTRGV. Thank you for doing that. It takes a village. We were just saying that. And then what would be recommended for AI for faculty in Coursera? Does anyone have suggestions? I know that Adobe Express has a lot of AI features and tools, so you can do a lot of visual AI. I don't even know what you call it, but creating images and art and those kinds of things. You can do that through Adobe Express, and that's free. Adobe Express is free, so you can create an account there and then try that out and then work through those there as far as the Adobe. But I don't know the answer to that. I have not yet explored Coursera fully. And then someone else says free trial for Google AI Essentials for that course. And let me look back. Has anyone taken any of these courses that they want to mention in the chat? See if anyone has taken any. I also want to mention there's a book, and it may be buried in the chat, but UT Arlington, in collaboration with the library, Jess Kahlo is an author. Andrew Clark from our very own Center for Research on Teaching and Learning Excellence was a co-editor, but they have curated lessons on AI. So that's not high tech. It's an OER book, but it's readable. So if we could put that in the chat again, maybe Nikisha or Beth, that would be great because that's open access to everybody.
Jess, would you mind talking a little bit more, or Andrew, either one, about the book? And
Yeah.
Yeah, if Beth or Nikisha can put the link to the book in the chat, that would be wonderful. Basically, it's a group of UTA faculty. Ann Cavallo, Karen Magruder, and myself have edited it, and it's an OER, and basically it's just a group of faculty from different disciplines offering some suggestions for using AI in your courses. And so we have faculty from business, from education, from various liberal arts, different other disciplines as well. And it's just some very, very simple ideas and just ways to incorporate AI into your courses. Mm-hmm. And so I would recommend just getting that, looking through it. I mean, our hope is that maybe it can be updated as we go. Jess has got a chapter in there on creating rubrics, using AI for rubrics. I've got one about using a persona through AI, and that's something that I've started to work a little bit more with, is creating a persona through AI. So whatever your discipline is, you can ask AI to take on a persona and to create something or to implement something. So, for example, in my particular persona, it was using AI as a public information officer to create a press conference for students to then write news stories based on the information provided by the AI chat, and that works really, really well. But what we're finding too is that, and what you'll find as you look through the book, is that things are moving so fast that it's impossible to, so what worked now, or what was then a sort of a new idea now is just like, wow, we're even beyond that. It could do so much more. And so my best advice for using AI, particularly AI in the classroom, is just to experiment. But then to also be honest with your students and let them know, I'm using AI for this, or I'm using AI for that. I think there's a bit of hypocrisy when we tell our students you can't use AI, but as faculty we use AI. And so I think being transparent about how you're using it and why, and allowing experimentation, I think is a positive. So.
Okay.
Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, that's a good
a short question.
That's a good answer.
And the link to the book is in the chat if you scroll up. I want to mention a couple other things we haven't talked about. If type yes in the chat if you can hear me. Make sure that another good resource is Substack. And so earlier in the chat, I put Michael Schmid's curated resources, and he has a ton. We don't want to overwhelm, but let me repost that. It's on our Pedagogy Next blog. And so if you click on that, you can see all the things he listens to. But I get a lot of information from Substack. Like I just read different people's Substacks. And my favorite one is by Lance Eaton, E-A-T-O-N. And he is my favorite go-to person for learning about AI. So I follow Lance Eaton on Substack, and I will put his link in the chat. But does anybody else have general sources of information that they go to? Let's see. Do we teach students using AI, or do we learn how to use AI to teach? Jess, do you want to unmute and tell us a little bit more about your both response? We'll give her a second to join or to rejoin. Jess, if you're there, if you want to unmute.
Yeah, sorry,
There
I
she
clicked the
is.
button, but not well enough, I guess. Yes, so the course goes through both of those things. So if it goes through, hey, are you going to allow students to use AI in your courses? If so, here's some ideas for what you can do. And we give links and ideas and all sorts of other fun things like that. And then another part of it goes into, hey, you can also use AI to develop your courses and your teaching. And it goes into what you can do there. And now I can see myself on the screen. That's great.
Thanks, Jess. Was that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thanks. Any other comments? We might wrap up a little bit early otherwise, but let's see what else we have from the chat. Does anyone else have any final questions or comments? Or Dr. Fleener, if you want to add anything as we kind of wrap up. And again, we really are glad that our UT RGV and other UT system colleagues could join us today so that we can connect on this topic. I recently I was telling everybody, I went to an AI and teaching conference at University of Central Florida, and I actually met and ran into your colleague Art Brownlow there. And so he's doing some great things with AI. So I think the more we can share across the UT system, I think the better. We're all in this together.
Yeah,
go ahead.
And it's very overwhelming. I mean, we've thrown quite a few resources at you today. And, Andrew's right, things are changing very quickly. I think if you can do nothing else, just pick one thing to start with, right? Like one LinkedIn Learning course, one Coursera course, maybe start small. and just start building your knowledge and your pathway that way, and avoid, absolute overwhelm and
Yeah.
information overload.
Yeah, I suggest starting with our book that we've put a few times in the chat, the OER book. Melissa also pointed out part of our summer programming is we'll be learning about Conmigo. And Melissa, if you don't mind putting the chat in there, Conmigo is affiliated with the Khan Academy and has some resources and tools that are AI powered. And so it's not specifically about AI, but it's AI, again, AI powered. And so we'll learn about that later in the summer, and look for those dates to come out. We'll have our at a glance programming schedule up soon. So thanks for that heads up about the other AI session we're doing. We're also doing a session later in the summer on hosted by Adobe, and we'll be focusing on Adobe Express and Adobe Firefly. And Adobe Firefly is specifically an image generation tool, and it's AI powered. And so it's a lot of fun. You can use it for teaching, your students can use it, it's for everybody. So look for that later in the summer. So we're not stopping talking about AI. Keeping on going. I think that's it. Any final thoughts?
No, we'll
Okay.
follow up with the blog post like Peggy's talked about, and it'll include, all the resources we've shared here, maybe some further reading, or resources, the slide deck and things like that. So
Yeah, we do have a feedback survey, which we're going to post the link in the chat. We'll also email it to everyone. Thank you for bearing with us with our mild technology issues. This is the first time we've recorded in the studio as a live stream ever. So thank you for helping us learn. We're always continuously improving. So if you can do that survey for us, it'll just take a minute, and tell us something that stood out, something else you want to know. We'll be sending a recap email to everyone, and you should get the automated recording for this webinar immediately following, or about an hour. I don't know when the time frame is. So they'll get that. And someone asked about the chat. The chat should stay active up here if you want to come back and read through it and see what other people had to say. And someone asked, can this meeting still be available in Teams? I'm not sure. All of the summer programming will be on Teams in this format. And again, it'll send to you an automated recording. Check out our Pedagogy Next blog as well. We'll post the more edited recording there. If you need the slides, they're buried way back in the chat. We'll repost the slides again if you joined late. And you can always email us at crtle, crtle@uta.edu. So thanks for joining.
yeah, thank you.
Bye, everyone.